As Democrats nominate Kamala Harris at their convention, Texans make their voices heard.
We deserve a president who can be a bright light in a sea of darkness.
Now there's evidence the race is tightening in Texas. Why that could have an impact deeper down the ballot. A new rule blocks Texans from changing the gender on their driver's license.
It makes me wonder how safe I am here.
We look into what's behind the order that tightens these restrictions. Texas school districts facing a budget crisis and tough choices over what to cut.
Looking at some of these things, they're devastating.
Our special report digs into what's at stake and why state lawmakers are divided over how to solve the problem.
Produced from the Capitol in Austin and airing statewide, this is the award-winning State of Texas.
Hello and thank you for joining us. I'm Josh Hinkle. Democrats celebrated Kamala Harris at their convention, and Texans played a powerful role. The opening night of the convention brought a rousing speech from Texas Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, but also a striking moment as Josh and Amanda Zerwoski addressed the crowd. They spoke about how they lost a baby to pregnancy complications and how Texas abortion restrictions put Amanda's life at risk.
Every time I share our story, my heart breaks. For the baby girl we wanted desperately, for the doctors and nurses who couldn't help me deliver her safely, for Josh, who feared he would lose me too.
The theme of reproductive rights continued during the roll call vote. Texas mom Kate Cox sent a message when the cameras turned to the state's delegation.
There's nothing pro-family about abortion bans. There's nothing pro-life about letting women suffer and even die.
Then on Thursday, the night Kamala Harris gave her acceptance speech, another Texas mom took the stage. Kimberly Mata Rubio told the story of losing her daughter in the Robb Elementary School shooting.
Uvalde is national news. Parents everywhere reach for their children. I reach out for the daughter I will never hold again.
Mata Rubio and 4 other Americans directly affected by gun violence spoke about their loved ones, calling for action on gun legislation. Also in the lead up to Kamala Harris's acceptance speech, Texas Congressman Colin Allred touted his campaign to defeat Senator Ted Cruz.
We will protect and restore reproductive freedom. We will secure the border. We'll protect Medicare and Social Security. And we'll turn the page and write a new chapter for this country. And let Kamala Harris be the next president and beat Ted Cruz.
Senator Cruz launched a campaign tour through Texas on the day after the Democratic convention ended. At a rally in Georgetown, he fired back at Allred.
We're a state that embraces common sense values, embraces the values of low taxes and low and reasonable regulations. We want to protect our safety. We want to protect our freedom. That's who we are, and I'm confident that's how Texas is going to vote in November.
As the campaign ramps up, we are getting a picture of how Texas could vote in November. New polling suggests that the race might be a little closer. Our Will DuPree has been following the developments this week. What does the latest polling show?
A survey done earlier this month by the University of Houston and Texas Southern University really sought to find out what Texas voters are feeling about 2 key races, the U.S. Senate seat and the presidency. Starting in that Senate contest, right now, the survey shows that Republican Senator Ted Cruz is only leading over Democrat Colin Allred by about 2 percentage points. That's virtually unchanged since the last survey was done back in June. And this is a very tight contest. It's within the margin of error. When we go to the presidential contest, that's where it's really interesting because Kamala Harris has only been the Democratic presidential nominee for a little over a month at this point. Pollsters have obviously been clamoring to find out how she's faring, not only nationally, but in some of these state polls. Here in Texas, this survey showed that she's trailing behind Donald Trump only by about 5 percentage points. She has shrunk his lead, according to the last survey, nearly in half. So this race is much more close than many people probably anticipated. And of course, more polls will be coming out as we get closer to the election and showing us how this dynamic, perhaps the excitement and enthusiasm she's generated so far, will affect the results in the state.
Yeah, we've heard some talk from Democrats about how this might be a sleeper battleground state. That seems far-fetched. You've looked, though, at the numbers a little bit closer. What are those chances?
Yeah, that phrase popped up on social media, sleeper battleground state, and trended for a little while. So it got us looking into this about how exactly true it is. Is it a possibility even this year? Texas Democrats have long claimed that the state is much more competitive than it has really shown in terms of a historical context. You know, a Democrat has not won statewide here in Texas in 30 years. The closest race was back in 2018 when Ted Cruz faced off against Beto O'Rourke. So history is not on the side of the Democrats at this time, but as these polls show, at least these early ones, the dynamics may be changing, and it's really fascinating to watch how this moves forward.
Certainly a campaign season that is heating up.
No doubt.
Thank you, Will. Another big story, the head of the Department of Public Safety is leaving after 15 years on the job. Steve McCraw announced his retirement Friday during a graduation ceremony for new cadets.
It's rather an easy thing to do because I know Governor Greg Abbott will ensure that my replacement is as good and likely better than I am at this particular job.
McCraw's announcement comes after more than a year of speculation about his future. He faced scrutiny in the aftermath of the 2022 Robb Elementary shooting in Uvalde. Families of the victims have pushed for accountability over how DPS responded to the shooting. Texas schools spending millions more than they're bringing in, asking state lawmakers for help. We look at the looming battle to get more money for public schools and the issue that's complicating the search for solutions. First, a new rule blocks people from changing the gender on their driver's license. We look at what led up to the decision and the effect it's having on transgender Texans.